Ever wondered what happens when smoke from a fire enters a fire sensor? Fire safety is a subject that touches us all. No matter where we live, work, or play, it's a critical aspect of our daily lives. Fire has the power to destroy property and take lives in an instant, making it an aspect of safety we cannot afford to overlook. It's a silent threat that can strike anywhere at any time, and the key to preventing the devastating effects of a fire lies in early detection. This is where fire sensors come into play. These small, often overlooked devices are our first line of defense against the destructive power of fire. They are the unsung heroes of fire safety, silently standing guard and ready to alert us at the first sign of danger. These devices are designed to detect the presence of fire or smoke in their immediate vicinity, sounding an alarm that gives us precious time to evacuate and call for help. In the world of fire safety, every second counts. The earlier a fire is detected, the more time there is to react, and the better the chances of minimizing damage and loss. Fire sensors are designed to give us those precious seconds, to turn the tide in our favor when every moment matters. Fire sensors are used in a wide range of settings, from residential homes to commercial buildings, industrial facilities, and even in some vehicles. They are an integral part of our safety infrastructure, a silent guardian that watches over us day and night. The role of fire sensors extends beyond just sounding an alarm. They also assist in activating fire suppression systems, aiding in the containment and control of a fire until help arrives. They are a critical component of a broader fire safety strategy, working in tandem with other measures to ensure the highest level of protection. So fire safety is not just about having a fire extinguisher at the ready. It's about prevention, detection, and a comprehensive approach that incorporates various elements, including the humble yet incredibly important fire sensor. So, fire sensors play a crucial role, but how exactly do they work? To understand how fire sensors work, we first need to understand what they are detecting. There are two main types of fire sensors: smoke detectors and heat detectors. Each of these devices is designed to recognize a different sign of a fire. Let's start with smoke detectors. As the name suggests, these devices are designed to detect the presence of smoke. But how do they do that? Smoke is composed of tiny particles of soot that become suspended in the air when a material burns. These particles are so small that they can float in the air and spread throughout a room. When these particles enter a smoke detector, they interfere with an internal light sensor, triggering the alarm. Now, let's move on to heat detectors. These devices don't look for smoke. Instead, they monitor the temperature of the room. When the temperature rises above a certain threshold, the heat detector triggers an alarm. This is done with a thermistor, a component that changes its resistance with temperature. As the temperature rises, the resistance in the thermistor decreases, allowing more current to flow. Once the current reaches a certain level, the alarm is activated. But what happens when there's no smoke, but the temperature is rising? For instance, if you've just cranked up your heating on a cold day, well, heat detectors are designed to respond not just to high temperatures, but to rapid changes in temperature. This means they won't be triggered by your heating system, but by the sudden and rapid increase in temperature that a fire would cause. Smoke detectors and heat detectors work in tandem to provide comprehensive fire detection. While smoke detectors are more sensitive and can alert you to a fire in its early stages, heat detectors provide a vital backup, capable of detecting fires that produce little to no smoke. Now that we know what they are detecting, let's dive into how they do it. Smoke detectors are fascinating pieces of technology that use the principles of physics to save lives. But how exactly do these devices work? Let's dive into the science behind them. There are two main types of smoke detectors: ionization and photoelectric. Each uses a different method to detect the presence of smoke, but they both serve the same purpose: to alert us in case of a fire. First, let's talk about ionization smoke detectors. These detectors have two electrically charged plates and a tiny bit of radioactive material in between. This radioactive material, usually americium-241, ionizes the air in the detection chamber, creating a current between the plates. Now, when smoke enters this chamber, it disrupts this current, triggering the alarm. This type of detector is particularly good at detecting fast, flaming fires. Now, let's move on to photoelectric smoke detectors. These detectors operate on a completely different principle. Inside a photoelectric detector, there's a light source and a light sensor set at a 90-degree angle to each other. Under normal conditions, the light beam misses the sensor. However, when smoke enters the chamber, it scatters the light, causing some of it to hit the sensor and set off the alarm. Photoelectric detectors are especially effective at detecting smoldering, slow-burning fires. Both types of detectors offer essential early warning in case of a fire, though they excel in different scenarios. Ionization detectors work best for fast, flaming fires, while photoelectric detectors are more responsive to fires that start with a long period of smoldering. Many modern homes and businesses use dual-sensor smoke detectors, which incorporate both technologies, offering the best protection against all types of fires. So that's how smoke detectors work. But what about heat detectors? Heat detectors may seem simple, but their operation is just as intriguing as smoke detectors. Diving into the mechanics, heat detectors primarily use two types of sensors, thermocouples and electro-pneumatic sensors. Both are designed to respond to changes in temperature, but they do so in slightly different ways. A thermocouple is a fascinating piece of technology. It's made up of two different types of metals, joined together at one end. When this joint is heated, it creates a small electrical voltage. This is because the two metals respond to heat differently, causing one metal to expand more than the other. This imbalance creates an electrical charge, which is then detected by the heat detector. When the heat increases beyond a certain point, this voltage jumps, triggering the alarm. On the other hand, we have electro-pneumatic sensors. These sensors work on the principle that air expands when heated. Inside the sensor is a diaphragm, a small flexible disc that moves when the air inside the sensor heats up and expands. This movement triggers an electrical switch, which, you guessed it, sets off the alarm. What's really interesting is that heat detectors can be programmed to respond to different rates of temperature increase. This allows them to distinguish between a slow, natural increase in temperature, like a sunny day heating up a room, and a rapid increase that could indicate a fire. This helps avoid unnecessary false alarms. Now you might be wondering, why use a heat detector instead of a smoke detector? Well, in certain environments, such as kitchens or garages, smoke detectors can be prone to false alarms due to steam, exhaust, or other non-dangerous sources of smoke. In these cases, a heat detector can be a more reliable choice. Both types of fire sensors work in different ways, but their goal is the same: to alert us of a potential fire. Whether it's a thermocouple detecting a change in voltage or an electro-pneumatic sensor responding to expanding air, these devices are crucial in providing us with early warnings, giving us a fighting chance against the destructive power of fire. We've learned a lot today about how fire sensors work. Let's take a moment to summarize and reflect on the importance of these small but crucial devices in our daily lives. Fire sensors, including smoke detectors and heat detectors, are integral components of our fire safety systems. They serve as our first line of defense against the devastating effects of fire, alerting us to danger before it's too late. Smoke detectors, as we've discussed, operate on the principle of ionization or photoelectric technology. Ionization smoke detectors are more responsive to flaming fires, while photoelectric detectors respond quicker to smoldering fires. These detectors sense the presence of smoke particles in the air, signaling a fire outbreak, and alert us, providing precious time to evacuate and take necessary action. On the other hand, heat detectors sense a rapid increase in temperature, or a temperature exceeding a predefined threshold. They're often used in environments where smoke detectors may cause false alarms, proving their value in a wide range of applications. The importance of these fire sensors cannot be overstated. They play a pivotal role in preventing fire-related accidents and fatalities. By alerting us to fire outbreaks early, they afford us the opportunity to contain the fire or evacuate the premises, saving lives and limiting property damage. Importantly, understanding the workings of these devices enables us to make informed decisions about our fire safety systems. For example, Knowing that ionization detectors respond quicker to flaming fires while photoelectric detectors are more responsive to smoldering fires can guide our choice of smoke detectors. In conclusion, fire sensors comprising smoke and heat detectors are vital tools in our fight against fire. They are our silent guardians, always on the lookout for the first signs of danger. The knowledge of their operation not only piques our curiosity but also equips us for better fire safety management. Remember, understanding how fire sensors work is not just interesting, it's essential for our safety.